Several days ago, Ashley and I were sitting at the dinner table with our two kids, and they were being their typical, normal, goofy selves as they were falling out of the chairs and throwing food and all the rest. And we noticed that both she and I were being pretty silent. It had just dawned on us that the seriousness of our situation, and we could really feel the pressure and stress and anxiety level rising there at the dinner table. It was an interesting contrast between the way our kids were acting and the way we were responding to what is going on in the world around us. And I think that that is a contrast that we need to pay attention to. Jesus said in Luke, the 18th chapter, that whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child shall not enter it. Jesus is telling us to accept the kingdom of God in a holy, trusting, and innocent way. I think at this moment we could learn something from our kids who have no idea that there's a global pandemic going on. I want to act like a child through this, just fully trusting, fully knowing that everything is okay, just happy for the moment that my parents are staying home with me for a little while, for those of you who can. Of course, I want to exercise caution. I want to do everything that the governing officials are telling us that we should do, to not gather in large groups, to wash my hands incessantly. I want to social distance and all of the rest. But what I found is that my anxiety rises when I listen to people who don't have their credentials to tell me what exactly is going on in the world. I'm not terribly worried about what is going on in the world when I listen to those who know what they're talking about. It's the comment section that really gets me in a heightened state of stress and anxiety. And so I encourage you to act like a child in these strange days. Don't just social distance. Maybe some of us need to social media distance. Romans 12:9-13 says, "Let love be genuine. Abhor what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Don't be slothful in zeal, but be fervent in spirit and serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation and be constant in prayer. And contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality." Paul gives us all these commands to be outwardly focused, to pay attention to those who are around us. And the tendency whenever we are in a crisis situation, whether this is a national tragedy or a personal tragedy, or right now a global tragedy, the tendency in all crises is to start to look inward. It's to become more and more selfish. And this is what we need to resist. This is what we need to turn away from in this time. Focus really on being more outwardly sensitive and aware. Paul's commands are all one another commands. These are commands that we need to pay attention to in our strange time, because the tendency is always to turn inward, and that is a selfish, sinful tendency. There are two terms about God, I think, that allow us to turn outward. You know, I learned a lot of attributes of God, all the omnis and many others, none of which I find typically or very helpful in this moment. They're fine for knowing more about God, and there's certainly value to knowing more about God so that you can know Him better. But none of these 10-cent words really help me today. But there are two that do, and they are that He is in control and that He is good. And if we can remember these two things, that God is both in control and that He is good, I think this will help us immensely to be outwardly focused. As I think about this in terms of my children, this really is what my children believe about me, that I'm in control and that I am good. And this is why they act as they do in the midst of everything going on around them. They're not aware of these cares, but some of you have children who would be aware of our present situation, and they look to you and they want to know, are you in control and are you good? And if you are, then everything else really is going to be okay. And if we have that mindset toward our God, I think we'll be okay too. I hope you have a great day.